My name is Tony Chinqui.
And I'm Frances Mei Harden.
1, 2, 3, 4.
And welcome to Social Rounds, the podcast in which two of the happiest surgeon dropouts you'll ever meet give our unsolicited opinions on the state's medicine, the world at large, pop culture, and whatever else we happen to find interesting. And let's see. I think this is coming out um, a day before Valentine's Day and a few days after the Super Bowl. We're kind of in this wonderful, holiday-filled part of February, which is very exciting. Which of these holidays do you observe, Frances May?
It's so funny to hear you refer to the Super Bowl as a holiday at all. I do observe Valentine's Day, and I do, as of now, as of last week, observe Bad Bunny Day,
I
the Bad
I
Bunny
I
Bowl.
too I too observe Bad Bunny. One thing about leaving America is that I don't have to pretend to enjoy football anymore. Like, I never liked that sport. I think it's lame. I think culturally it's very problematic and lots of head injuries. I'm not here for that. But um I'm into, and I wasn't always checking for Bad Bunny. I know he's been around. I know he's been popular the world over for a very long time.
Mhm.
But I heard he was doing this Super Bowl. I was like, yo, let me just dip into this. He just won the Grammy of album of the
Yep.
year. I was like, I gotta dip into this music. And I dipped in, and it is strong, guys. I it gets the old hips moving in my household.
Yeah, now you're swimming in open water. You dipped,
Mm-hmm.
and now,
Mm,
yeah, I'm
it's
right there with
glorious.
you. I love him. I thought that, certainly a lot of interesting stuff about the set design and
Oh,
storytelling,
yeah.
on the field at halftime, I loved, but and then, like, even
Beautiful.
from a lighter standpoint, all the grass content, I loved it. The
I
dancers who
mean,
were grass,
just seeing them run out, seeing the grass run out and then be completely stationary for like 20 minutes. And I was like, when is the grass gonna like do grass stuff, like grass dancing? Or
yeah.
like, did the people, were they inside the grass and then left the grass and now they're the
Yeah.
dancers we're watching? Like, there's a lot of questions about the magic of the performers that I have no answers for.
A lot of great memes, like, my favorite when all the dancers the grass runs off the field at the end, you can see, like, this whole, you know, quorum of them sprinting off the field, and people put text over it like me running away from my problems. It's just like the little it's like dozens and dozens of little grass people, like, shuffling away. It's definitely gonna be the hottest Halloween costume of
I th
2026,
I
I'll tell
think
you
you're
that.
right. I
I'm
think you're
gonna order
right.
mine, like, soon.
This seems like your type of Halloween costume.
Yeah, I mean, when
Like
I was
if you're
younger
gonna be out in these streets or like that you could just spontaneously turn into an unobtrusive bush of grass, and no one would be the wiser. Seems like, you're that kind of cat.
I would want that superpower, but I will say, to give myself credit, that I have observed Slutty Halloween many, many years over.
Sure.
In my 20s, I was like the Baywatch costume. I was just trying to go for as little coverage as possible. But
Yeah, that's what it's
this,
about, yeah.
my intern year, I went out as Baywatch, and my co-resident, she was Groot in a full Groot costume, gloves included. Like, not 1 inch of skin exposed to the outer world, and I was in, like, a pretty revealing Baywatch suit.
Mm. And I assume you were the taller of the two, but you weren't playing the tree.
She's pretty tall. We're both
She's a
tall. I'm
Oh,
I'm a
you're
little
both tall.
taller, so yeah,
Okay. Good
we're
for you
both
guys. You
tall. We were
both
just trying to, like, still have some semblance of a life. Like, it was intern year. I didn't try to celebrate
Oh,
really
man. I
subsequent
have a I
Halloweens.
have, like, a pretty solid history of problematic Halloween costumes. Like, once I started getting into it in med school when we're just like, "We got nothing to lose."
Yeah.
Um, uh, but anyway, here's my favorite thing about all the stuff around, Bad Bunny content, aside from the music is solid and great is like the way he like shouted out every country in America, in the Americas, at
Mhm.
the end, and just how excited Canadians are that they got
Yeah,
shouted
yeah,
out.
yeah.
And they were just like, you know what? We are here. We are in it. Everyone forgets about us in these sorts of scenarios.
Yeah.
But you know, we could shake some hips with Bad Bunny and friends. So I feel very good for my Canadian colleagues.
Yes, shout out to Joan, whose birthday is this week.
Yep. Shout out Joan Chan. She grown. Fan of the show, esteemed co-host. But we're gonna get into it, guys. That's our big catch up for this week. There's a lot going on. Um, but we're gonna hop in to, I think, a pretty prescient segment of social rounds. So here we go. You know the intro. Social rounds is where we become your life attendings because it's become abundantly clear that many of you out there are in desperate need of guidance. And we got the kind of wisdom that only comes from running out of fucks. And the question of the week is, how do I rank my match list? Because it's that time of year again, bitches. It's the time of year when med students in their final year have to compile their match rankings for most specialties. Like, ophthalmology already did their thing, I guess. And then they submit them on what I believe is March 4th. I think that's what we were told a couple episodes back. But I just want to do a real quick primer to our non-medical and pre-medical listeners so you know what we're talking about. So the process of getting into residency for your chosen specialty is really fucking intense. And in the fall of your senior year of med school, you hopefully go on a bunch of interviews, and then medical establishment has decreed that the most fair way to get people into the right programs is for it to proceed thusly. So each program ranks every student that they interviewed in order of who they like best. And then they send it off to this like big computer in the sky. And then each student ranks the programs they interviewed at in order of who they like best. And they send that list off to the big computer in the sky. And so the big computer in the sky does big computer things over the next few months. And then, taking everyone's preferences into account, it just spits out an answer to both parties in the spring. And whatever it tells you, wherever it tells you to go, you have entered a contract in which you must go there. There's no wiggling around, so that's how you know where you're going to be training. Or if you will be training at all, because not everybody ends up with a spot. Like, that is part of how the math of the stuff works too. So it's an extremely terrible and stressful time. And right now, students are at the stage where they're ranking the programs where they interviewed at. So I thought we should give them some advice on how to do that. Like, what's really important, what's actually important, versus what you've been conditioned to feel is important when you're making this one of the biggest life decisions, uh, you know, to this point in your life. Okay, so Frances May, I mean, I think very traumatically about this time in my life. Um, uh, where would you start when like if you had a med student who was just like, where do I put these plays? How do I decide, what should be top? Where do I put things on this list?
Yes. No, I agree with you. Definitely not like I don't look back incredibly fondly. I do want to shout out that, like you alluded to, urology and ophthalmology got their
I saw
results
the ones.
back
Yeah.
already.
Mm-hmm.
And I received multiple messages from individuals saying that they didn't match.
Mm,
And
mm-hmm.
so I just, I think if I could even give one piece of advice, it would be to people who don't match, like that I see you, I was that person. Um, it feels a lot more terrifying and shameful and crushing than it is. And, these things create a lot of shame for us for as long as we let them. In my case, I would say probably a good 7 years, maybe, is how long I carried that around, and it was, like, my biggest shameful secret. In my case, because I soaped, it was a secret, like, only, I mean, sure, a handful of people knew, but the decision to be, like, really open about it, that was deliberate, because I probably could have gone to the grave with, like, only double digits people even having the vague concept that that had happened to me.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah, just for everyone out there, can you explain we'll go back in this process. We kind of jumped into what happens in the spring, but what is soaping for those folks who
Yes,
need to know?
soap, or some people call it scramble. It's what happens if you don't match. You have that week. You get an email Monday that says you didn't match. Everybody else gets an email Monday that says you did match.
Yeah, it's really fucked up, guys. It's like
Yeah, it
it's
really
a
like
week
it
of
doesn't have to be like
it's a
that at
it's a week
all.
of 2 email or a week of 2 big messages. Like, you get the prelim, yes, you are going somewhere, but we're not gonna tell you where yet.
Yeah.
Or no, you're not going anywhere, you know, figure it out.
Yeah, you can scramble. So right, exactly. Like call everyone you know. So basically in that scenario, my year, I have shared, I think it's relevant here. So just to recap, I was a strong applicant in ENT. Objectively true. I got 25 interviews. I took 17 interviews and then I ranked 16 spots. One of them was like so not in alignment that, yeah, we were like, we'd rather not match than go here, because that's what you have to be saying to yourself if you interview somewhere and then don't put it on your list. Um, okay. My year, it's when UIC didn't submit their rank list as a program, so those 3 spots went completely unmatched, like they didn't put in a rank list. That did have, I've talked to many people in the system, even high up in the like, that did have some domino effect causing chaos throughout the
That is
match. Because
very weird. What's wrong with that? Why, like, that was
well,
just a snafu?
the rumor was it was a new coordinator who, like, didn't know how to press the submit button, but that was, like, the rumor. But
Damn.
the fact is all 3 spots were straight up
We're all
untouched
just
open.
open. Yeah,
So there were 11 ENT spots to soap into my year, which of course, like, that is unprecedented. Most years
that
there
sounds like
will
a lot.
be yeah, most years there will be 0 in ENT and like different competitive subspecialties, but sometimes there's 1, things like that. Anyway, there were 11. I interviewed during soap week at Northwestern, at Dartmouth. They each had open spots. There were some really top programs with open spots. And then there were all 3 UIC spots. The program I ended up at had 1, of course. But anyway, so then you basically just stay awake for like 48 hours straight. You get your, emergency team in place, and then you sit for a bunch of interviews same day. And then you go into a little computer system, and there's 3 rounds of, hey, these schools are offering you a spot. Do you want to take it? So theoretically, like a really competitive person in the soap, in the first round, it might be that like multiple programs offer you a spot and you actually get to pick, which is kind of interesting. Obviously,
Is
no
that
one gets to.
I'd assume that that is under time pressure.
Oh yeah, yeah,
They're like,
yeah.
you
30
gotta
minutes.
respond. You
Yeah,
have to
yeah.
respond
No,
within
it's
30
like
minutes?
live. I mean,
Oh,
I can't
shit.
remember exactly. I want to say 30, but you're totally correct. Like, it was Colin and I sitting at the computer, like squinting at it, and then it just is like, they're giving you an offer. Do you want to take this offer? Click yes or click no, and there is a time constraint on it. You could, of course, gamble, because let's say someone offers you a job that first round, and then you like don't love this program, but it's like, what are the chances that someone's going to offer you something that you like better second round? Probably pretty low. Like,
Mhm.
you should just take it if someone makes you an offer. Poor Colin, we'd been dating 6 months at the time that this happened, so he had like no idea what was going on, didn't know any other medical
He was
students or
just like,
doctors or
"Her life
anything.
is falling apart. I don't have the context yet. This is it's getting crazy. I know I need to be ready and willing for anything right now because it's fucking nuts."
Yeah, pretty much no context. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, I think that if we knew each other better then we would have felt like we had more options and, like, could have pivoted. Like, now it really wouldn't be a thing, but, like, at the time, he was like, "What's going on?" And also,
Yeah.
like, didn't know me that well, like, couldn't have successfully, like, navigated me the way that he has, in years since. But the one thing that I wanna say about this, just because, like, it's come up online. So,
Yeah.
my core piece of advice, because again, I'm like, I'm probably just not the expert at telling people, like, this is exactly how to game your rank list to get your top choice, because that's what happened to me. Like, I don't posture about that. I'm not going to pretend I'm some all knowing rank list person, but I do know that there are things that I didn't do right. And so recently I made a video that just said, look, I tried to guess and game it too much. Like, I ultimately definitely put as my number one a program where I thought I had the best chance of matching. Not
Ooh.
necessarily in a vacuum the right program. Like, of course, and medical students are so impressionable. I think I like convinced myself of that, but I'm saying like I couldn't tease out, well, I think that I have probably statistically the best chance here. So let me put more eggs in that basket. And here's what I mean by that. Um,
Talk to them about, like, the game of it, like, your rank list when stacked up against, like, a program's rank, like, how were you trying to game it? What did you feel you knew about how it worked that you tried it that way?
right, exactly. Yeah, and that's the thing is I do recommend, I've watched even in recent months the YouTube videos on the algorithm. Like those are helpful. Um But here's me gaining it, is just that,
Mhm.
like, even 3 months before the match rank lists were going in, even during interview season, probably even though that's how far back it goes, just for me. The way I approached interview season, I had my clear, "This is gonna be my number 1, this is gonna be my number 2." That didn't change through the course of interview season. Plus, since I had a history at those programs, the reason that this goes a lot deeper is because even when I interviewed in the same city at other programs and, like, really liked them, and they were mid-tier programs, and I liked them, thought they were cool people, I feel like they liked me, I was receiving emails after the interviews. One of them from, again, a local-ish regional institution, it literally said, "It was such a pleasure to meet you. I'm so excited for, like, where you're going. Um, I hope to see you around town," alluding to they also thought I was going to match at this other program. They were like, "I'll see you at, like, our city meetings." And I'm just
It's
saying, like,
dangerous.
well, right, that's what I mean
It's
when I
dangerous to
say
receive, information like
totally.
that. Yeah.
Well, I didn't think that at the
I
time.
didn't get no we had very different, experiences in this whole thing, but, yeah, I wouldn't get no follow-up "You're so great" emails from from anybody, but that would've I mean, it fucks you up in its own way, not getting those messages, hearing other people might, do that stuff, and, if you receive stuff like that, you're just like, "Oh, well, are they talking? Do they know something I don't at this other like,
Well
all
right, I
that's
was
going
like
through your
no,
head.
I was like, "I'm the man." Like, I thought that I was gonna match at this other program in your city, and, like, you
Mm.
clearly also think the same thing. But what was really crazy is that when I shared this story online, and I was like, "I'm just telling you, don't try to game it. Like, really, really try to pull back. Don't try to game it." Because I was playing the game for all those months. I was like, "Okay, I'm gunning for this spot," and I think that even though, of course, I would never overtly tell people that, I would not be shocked knowing how naive and totally not strategic I was back then. Very high likelihood, of course, that I was inadvertently indicating, okay, that's my top choice. Because what a lot of people said was they went deep into the match algorithm math of it, and they were like, look, you didn't match, and you wouldn't have matched even if you had changed your rank list. Like, people who don't match. So even if you had flipped the order of your number 1 and 2 and 3, any of that, you would not have matched. There's no scenario in which you match. And I was just like, that's hilarious to me because those are the people in medicine who, like, I do not miss. I I've been trying to get away from you for a long time. That's totally fine. I'm not saying that I would have matched if I flipped my number 1 and number 3 ranked spot, but I am saying if you go further back in terms of like, oh, I entered into interviews not accidentally or inadvertently giving off the vibes that I had a clear favorite, clear top 2, that definitely could have changed things because that could have impacted how other people ranked me.
Yeah. 2
What do you
2
think
things.
about that? All the people
2
who are like,
thoughts.
"This girl is so dumb. This girl has no idea what's going on. She doesn't match in any of the multiverses."
Here's what I have to say. Um, those people, who spend their time saying that, "Hey, guess what? Retroactively, lady, 10 years ago, whatever it was, you would never have gone anywhere, like, no matter what." Like, go outside and, see the sun or something. Like,
It's a
get
little
off your
mean.
get off
You
your.
don't
It's a
have to
little.
say it
It's
like that.
mean. There's no reason for that. And also, you don't know shit any more than she does or that I do. Like, you can search the algorithm. Nobody. I can tell you this. Like, Frances May's story is not a unique story. Like this, yeah, that not matching can happen to any fucking one of us. Okay. Like, and the way that you put, when you're thinking about your match list and stuff. I'll get to what I think about that in a second. But this can happen to any one of us, and then we do like a post mortem on it for the rest of our lives if it happens, right? Like, and so like the what you're thinking. I mean, you were one of those applicants that I wished fucking I was, because you were one of the applicants that got interviews everywhere, like all over the place. Like you apply, like I don't know how many places you applied to, but if you got like something high teen
Mhm.
interviews and you turned one down, like like you were turning down to, I'm like, you were who I was hearing about, and I was just like, is this even gonna happen for me? Because at the end of the day, I remember I applied to about 60 whatever, however many there are.
Mhm.
There's
Yeah.
60-ish. I applied to almost all of them, and I
Yeah.
got 6 interviews. One of them being my home institution, which had to interview me, and the other one being a place where I did a good away rotation in Tampa, where they also kind of had to
Nice.
interview me.
Yeah.
And so, like, that's where I was at, and I'm around all my friends in various specialties who are going, like, interview number 10, interview number
Mhm.
12, interview number 15, and I'm sitting fucking just, like, having panic attacks every day. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
so I'm going in to these interviews, right? Um, no matter where the fuck I am, like my fucking life is on the line. Like, and it sounds like your experience was like different because you had some confidence going into these interviews. Like that's what you're telling me. You were just like, I walked in and I was like, I know how many I got. I'd probably have my pick of where I want to go, and maybe you acted like it, maybe a little bit in a way that may have come
I
off.
can accidentally be braggadocious. I am working on it. And if
No,
I'm
but
like
I
and
mean,
I'm working on it now and I'm still not perfect. So, take 13 years off my life, put me back in my slutty Halloween era,
exactly.
and like you can imagine, I was probably
These are the
not
times.
being thoughtful. I was not strategic about this. And
These are the times, man.
I will say too, because I know you and I both share a mutual disdain for like the rude commenters online, there were people in the comments of like this video about things I would change about my rank list who actually educated me in a kind way. Like there literally were people who were like, honestly, I think that even if you had switched those two, I don't know that it would have made a difference. I still think that your advice about try not to game it, try not to anticipate who's going to rank you highly, that's still good advice. And if you want more resources, go watch the YouTube on the rank list algorithm. So that's why me and Colin went down a rabbit hole. But like, that's a very nice way to be like, the
Yeah.
implication from your video, I don't 100% agree, but I definitely, I see where you're going with this. You could learn more here. Love it. I'm always going to choose to learn more in that situation. Like, and I don't, that's not a rude comment. So you may see some of those like really helpful ones, but the rude ones are just always like, not only are they like, there's no multiverse where you match, but a few people are like, you got 25 interviews and then you didn't match. That actually, by definition, means you must have a terrible personality. You must be like the worst interviewer in the world. To which I'm like, I hope karma is real.
Yeah, I mean, what good does it do either side of this conversation for someone to make a comment like that? You know what I mean? Like, but I wanna say, I wanna get into, okay, I know, like, we're all super neurotic at that moment. And in this month, like talking to Shay a couple episodes back, like, yeah, like she's a cool lady, but the anxiety is like bubbling hard, just like with every single med student at this stage. You're trying to figure out, like, you're watching YouTube algorithm videos. Guess what? Who the fuck cares? about the algorithm. That's what I think. At the end of the day, you know, when you're putting this list together, what are the things that actually matter that should influence how you put this list together? I don't think it should like we're going to take gaming out of it because I think we can both agree don't try to game a system that you have absolutely no control over and you cannot guarantee that you have full knowledge of. Like whatever stuff is seeped out into the public
Yeah.
that like helps us be even more neurotic about it, there's probably way more in it. So like leave it alone.
Yes. Yeah. Leave it alone. And again, like it is worth doing these like fidelity checks because I do think that the day I submitted my rank list, of course, I would have said, yes, this is my real rank list. But I'm saying it went so deep, the conspiracy went so far back that I just looked at the whole landscape of all programs in the fall. And I was like, I do have it feels like I have more of an in and a higher chance at X.
Yeah. I would say, guys, take when you're putting your rank list together, because of all the stuff we just said, take that planning element of I'm gonna list it this way because I think I have the best chance at whatever. Just take it out of it. Okay. Like, just think one about your experience, that you had there, what you were able to glean on your on your interviews, kind of about this program, about the people you met at this program, about the city, you know, um, yeah, the prestige of the program. You heard Frances Mei, she's still using the language, mid-tier, top tier. If a job's a job, guys. Like, get that through your fucking head right now. Okay? Like, the odds are you're gonna get trained well. And the prestige, the pedigree of a place does not necessarily mean you're gonna get trained that well. Okay? So that you have to think about what you learned about, like, because for me, like, I ended up ranking Henry Ford number one for me. Um, because and like, I liked every place else, like my home institution, like all that stuff. I ended up going to Henry Ford and I guess they wanted me there. But when I got there, I was like, one, did I vibe with the people? I vibed enough. You know what I mean? As much as you can in like one afternoon. You know what I mean? Um, two, what kind of training do they actually get? Like I came out of Henry Ford like having worked in Detroit as like the trauma center in Detroit, the cancer center in Detroit. Like this is where all the real shit came. We weren't like they were doing some research, but it wasn't like a big research
Mhm.
facility where like you saw like niche sort of things. Like we saw people coming from urban Detroit, from downriver in
Mhm.
Michigan, like with
Mhm.
all sorts of stuff all over the state. And our teachers, our attendings got us in to the operating rooms early. We had a lot of autonomy very early, so we learned stuff fast. So like there are programs around the country where, you know, you could come out of a program like I mean, I'm thinking about your book. Like, I mean, I don't know how many neck dissections you did, like coming out of your program. I was as a 4 doing them twice a week for half a year. Like
That's
I knew
wild.
how to do it, because like and then I
Yeah.
came like I did hundreds of thyroids, hundreds and hundreds of them because we just had that volume. So I got out and I was teaching my older colleagues when I went into practice like
Mhm.
how I was doing them because I was doing a lot of them. I was doing them very fast and very safely in techniques that they didn't really know. And so like you got to think, okay, not only like the people because people they can be deceptive, right? That's mostly what we talk about here. Like how, at the end of the day, was a lot of my experience there pretty shitty? Sure it was. But, was I fucking good when I got out? I was good, and I was able to get that sense from my interview day and from like talking to folks. So keep that stuff in mind. Also, the where you want to live personally. I didn't have a lot of constraints because it was just me. I could go anywhere, but not everybody has that luxury, so you keep those things in mind too. Um, but yeah, don't try to game the system. Trying to game the system is uh, it's not gonna it's not gonna add anything. It's not gonna work out. And if you match after having tried to game the system in your rank list, it probably wasn't because you tried to game the system. So I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah. No, I love that. Trying to game the system, that way lies madness. I really appreciate, you sharing your match experience. It's so funny because when I think about back to the OR, I was like, there might be a multiverse in which we operate together. That would be pretty chill. Like I would, I'm not
Mhm.
sure that I see that like in this one for us, but probably actually would be pretty fun. But I would like to listen to my music and not your oldies stuff. Is my only
I'm sorry.
constraint.
I'm sorry. Oldies
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah.
That's the music I listen to.
Yeah.
Is that the impression you have? Oh
It might
man,
not
this
be
is.
like the oldies genre, but I'm saying like what an older person would listen. Did the
Oh,
song come out before the
this
year
is.
2000? Yes or no?
Wow. Jeez. This is, I mean, most of the time, I mean, my philosophy music wise is that a hit is always a hit, no matter when it comes out. So I'll play something from today. I'll also play something from 2005. You know, I'll put Nelly on. Are you too young for Nelly and
No, I
country
like Nelly.
grammar? Okay,
I
good.
I,
Okay. So
I mean,
we're,
I've never played country grammar in the OR, but um
it's, I mean, you're missing out.
so I think that those are all great points, and I'm not deliberately trying to add like an element of nihilism here. But what I also point out to people is that there is such a bigger element in medical education in residency that you cannot control. Here's what I mean by that. Because over the years, I've heard from many people. First of all, Tony mentioned his number one spot. And it sounds like he's happy with the surgical training he got, not thrilled with some of the other aspects of residency. Fine. That's pretty good. That's still pretty good. I know people who match at their number one spot. They pick it because they're like, yeah, the vibes are honestly impeccable. It's a good match for me. Everything loved the PD. Um, they start there. The PD leaves. A new one
Mhm.
comes in. Literally night and day, new one's a nightmare. And that propagates throughout the program. And then the rest of their years there are hell. And I mean, so like that type of stuff is not, I've seen it with chairs. I've seen it with PD and chairs. There was a program in the past several years, the PD and chair flipped over in a similar timeline and the program got a lot worse, right? Like there are these things that happen out of our control because not only, what is extra sad to me is that the program I trained at was not that dissimilar to what Tony's describing. Very high trauma, like we got a whole 200 miles in either direction kind of patient population. So part of it was just the fact, the reason why I hadn't done that many neck dissections as a 4 was because of how there was a missing class of residents under me.
Mm.
That would literally never be knowable. I mean, short of you have an Etsy witch that sees the future for you. When I was a 2 and there were issues with these 1s, and then when I was a 3 and then the 2s couldn't perform the duties of
You
2s,
had to do
and when I was
more
a
junior
4, right,
duties.
like I just
Yeah.
did a lot
Hmm.
more level 2, PGY2, PGY3 type cases. Um, it impacted like the whole trajectory of training. I still graduated with hundreds of parathyroid and thyroid like endocrine cases, and certainly our program was one where no one had to do an endocrine fellowship to go on and have a robust endocrine practice. Some people do in other
Hmm.
programs. But I just say that because it's like if you were missing a class of residents under you, I bet that would have put a significant dent in your neck dissection experience.
Yeah, probably. But I think, yeah, your point is well taken. You can't tell the future. You're not in charge of much. And so the sooner you kids get that into your fucking heads, the happier you're gonna be. Because like this is just the start. You're well in the middle of not being able to control anything. And I know all the anxiety is high because that's the situation. You are not in control of this process. You're not in control of what happens. You're not in control of where you go. You're not in control of whether you're going to match. You feel that in your chest. And it makes you nuts. You're grasping for control wherever you can find it. You're going on the internet, going down rabbit holes, trying to figure out how can I have control? Guess what? You don't. Okay? Wherever you like, if you have a place that you get to go, then you go and you do your very best. It is so hard to match into a program that is completely useless and completely falling apart. The odds are wherever you go, you're going to learn enough to be a doctor by the end, right? And, but honestly, at any program that you go to, it's not up to the program, it's up to you. Like how well you do. As sad as that is, you'll have advisors, you'll have people you look up to, you'll have teachers, maybe they're good, then maybe they're not. But how much you get out of it is up to you. And I would suggest you guys take that as you're entering into this process. Like, yeah, you make your rank list. If you're fortunate enough to have multiple places on your list, there's probably not a bad place on your list where you would go and just be like, you know, um, I don't even want to try. But like, even if you get your last pick or you don't match and you soap into a place where you've never even gone, like the onus is on you. You're going to be a doctor regardless. You're going to be a whatever specialty you want to be regardless. And you're the one that has to make it happen. Um, so that's what I would say as my bow on this conversation.
Yes, I know. Just to reiterate, guys, I know many people who matched in the middle of their list and at the bottom of their list, and they still went on to be very happy with their residency and create a wonderful career for themselves. I'm sure that I'm just projecting, and that wasn't like a personal attack on me, but Tony is right about like the personal responsibility aspect, which is that ultimately I was offered a very poor residency training experience. I would say across every domain. What I chose to do with that, even if I wasn't aware that there was a choice or that I was making a choice, I made it much worse. That's what my book's about.
By the
Plug
book.
for the book. Yeah, buy the book. Yeah, I really did. Like at every turn, I chose violence.
Yeah. Surgeon on the Edge, I made everything worse. Buy the book. It's great. It really is, guys. But yeah, okay. So I think those are our thoughts. Honestly, I'd love to get lit up on the internet by folks for hot takes. You get the brunt of it. Because you're way more popular on the internet than I am. But I haven't received nearly enough hate, I think. Um, and so, that sort of engagement, I just wanted to let y'all know I don't like it, but I'm not scared. So if y'all got something to say, you can say it to me as well. Um,
No, just say it to him only. I'm
yeah,
sensitive.
I know.
That would be
I
awesome.
know they seek you out, which I don't agree with, but I'm saying, seek me out.
Yeah,
Seek me out too. Like we could
no.
be a team in this, or I could just take it on. I don't care.
But
I
that's what I
got
mean.
no
Tony's
qualms.
like, you'll have to take us on. And I'm like, just
Yeah.
please remove me from the narrative altogether. Like, for me, it's like when cats know that you don't like them and they just come and they, pester you.
All right. Well, I think that's as good a place as any to end. So we're gonna wrap up another successful and legendary episode of Social Rounds. Frances May, please take us out.
If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe, rate us 5 stars, leave us a review, and check out our website, hippocratic-collective.com for more shows and content like this. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next week.